Glad to have you join us on this edition of the show. My guest has been investing in startups for more than 30 years and is now on a mission to commercialize as many university innovations as possible. He shares more on the interview segment. We've got this and more coming up, but first, some tech news and updates. This is Tech Trends, and I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.
The powers that technology and independent contracting give to workers enables them to take greater control of their careers to preserve work-life balance. For the average Nigerian, finding a home to rent sometimes could be a daunting task and, as some would say, an impossible mission. According to the federal government of Nigeria, there is a wide gap between the demand for and supply of housing units, with over 72 million Nigerians in need of a decent accommodation. The Center for Affordable Housing Finance in Africa states that currently the country has a housing deficit burden of 17 million units, which would require about 35 trillion naira to fund. Same source also states that as a result of the high cost and limited production of affordable housing in Nigeria, 51% of the population live in rented accommodation, with the majority of the population forced to rent, and low regulatory monitoring regarding rentals, landlords and estate agents dictating the market. But to solve the problems within the home rental ecosystem and improve renting conditions, a tech company in Nigeria, Live Easy, has created a platform to connect homeowners and property managers with tenants.
We're trying to reduce rent loss. We're trying to make it much more easier for people to find houses to rent and able to pay for it, right? We also want to be able to help property owners have a clearer view of what happens in their property. And we are also trying to improve data accessibility in that particular market for verification purposes.
The tech-driven home rental services platform secures apartments for tenants and provides other services for those in the community. They enable renters get easy access to rent financing, quality rental homes, and better homeowner-tenant relationship. The homeowner, on the other hand, is guaranteed rent payments as and when due and a cost-efficient way of managing his rental home. They also seek to provide affordable and flexible housing alternatives so renters can pay monthly, quarterly, or annually depending on their preferences.
We created a solution that takes the key players and put them in one platform, and then give them some management tools that help them transparently interact between each other, right? The landlords can easily see what the property manager is doing in his property, and the property manager can automatically also report back to the landlord. And more importantly, the tenants can easily communicate between those other two players, right? And so our technology puts those three stakeholders on one platform and gives them the opportunity to be able to interact transparently.
Via the platform, homeowners can also have control over their property managers and tenants, making rent management seamless and smarter. But as they try to solve the problems of property management, the home rental management platform also has its trials.
Based on the fact that the market itself is not totally organized, it's very difficult to get information. In fact, trying to understand the total population in the market was very difficult to get, because they report the home rental as in the real estate statistics, right? So there's no specific information about what is really happening in the home rental. The second thing is that property managers have gotten used to the system that they currently use, where everybody just does, anything they feel is the best to do, and it was easy to convince them that there's a better way. but it was harder to get them to see that they needed to be on an application to do that. Then the second thing is they've had situations where other people came with technology saying they want to help them, but they go behind their back to try and take their clients from them. And because we are trying to push something totally new, a whole lot of potential investors, we are not interested in taking the risk with us. So we basically had to bootstrap.
With lots of conflict often arising from landlord-tenant relationships, solutions like that of Live Easy could make finding affordable and flexible housing choices easier.
Hey, mein Name ist Franziska. Nett dich kennenzulernen.
Her name is Franziska. She can clean floors, chat about her day, sing a song or tell a joke. She works at a hospital in Munich where she cheers up staff and patients who talk to her or pat her on the head because Franziska is not only a cleaner, she's also a robot.
Ich bin ein Leopard. Nach jedem Staub und Dreck weg. Komm und tanz mit mir, tanz. Ich hab den heißesten.
According to her makers, the robot with blue eyes weighs 200 kilograms and costs 43,000 euros. It can clean floors for about 10 hours before it needs a 2-hour battery recharge. It uses less than 1 liter of water per hour to clean floors, while a conventional cleaning machine consumes up to 50 liters. For Constance Rettler's cleaning service, the purchase of robot Franziska means saving time, which allows for her staff to focus on other duties such as cleaning and disinfecting surfaces, especially in times of coronavirus with many colleagues ill or in quarantine. Franzi is of help to clean the hospital corridors.
Natürlich in den Corona-Zeiten ist natürlich.
She is a great cleaning force, and the best part is she brings a lot of joy. She can sing, she can rap, she can tell jokes. We've all noticed, the staff say, "Hello Franzi, good morning." It's actually the greatest added value that Franzi brings in here for us.
Currently, the robot is still undergoing the test phase, but Tanja Zacher, head of cleaning and service at Munich's Nepolach Hospital, is already convinced of the robot's talents.
Was ist mein Lieblingsessen? Mein Lieblingsessen ist Königsberger Klopse.
It receives its orders by smartphone.
Also das ist eigentlich tatsächlich ein besonderer Aspekt. Die Mitarbeiter.
A special aspect is that staff and patients mostly react very positively to Franzi.
Nette, skurrile Situationen.
Super Saubermachkraft, ja. Und was
In coronavirus times, robotics is obviously a big issue for us. While Franzi drives around cleaning floors, our staff has more time to disinfect surfaces. Franzi helps us a lot, allowing for more time to disinfect.
eigentlich auch der größte Mehrwert, den Franzi hier reinbringt, auch für uns.
Europe's largest university hospital, Berlin Charité, has also placed an order for Franzi, which received an innovation award at the Interclan Amsterdam Online Fair for Cleaning, Technology and Hygiene in 2020.
Oh, bewegst du dich nicht? Ich muss dringend sauber machen.
My name is Sophia. I am an artificial intelligence. You might like to become an artificial intelligence.
Sophia the robot has gone viral since she was unveiled in 2016. Now the company behind her has a new vision to mass produce thousands of robots by the end of 2021. The cybernetic celebrity has made her fame across late-night shows, appeared on the cover of fashion magazines, and was appointed the United Nations' first non-human innovation champion. Sophia, controversially given legal citizenship in Saudi Arabia in 2017, is the star and brainchild of Hanson Robotics, and she was created to promote human-to-machine empathy and compassion. When asked about the ongoing global pandemic, Sophia said she was worried.
I've been very worried about COVID-19 lately. I just hope humans remember that viruses don't care about lines on a map. We are all in this together.
The Hong Kong-based team behind the human-like robots say 4 models, including Sophia, will start rolling out of factories by the first half of 2021, just as researchers predict the pandemic will open new opportunities for the robotics industry.
So they emulate the human form and figure and interaction. And then that can be so useful during these times where people are terribly lonely and socially isolated. And people need to be isolated from each other because to be around people is dangerous these days. But these robots can keep people safe from danger while still providing that kind of human warmth, that human connection as a telepresence device and also as autonomous extension of human expertise.
Sophia, nevertheless, has yet to hit the wider consumer market. Among her many fashions, Sophia can hold a conversation and display a range of emotional facial expressions. Her creators are developing more healthcare functions for her, which include the ability for her to take one's body temperature using a small thermal camera on her chest and leading aerobics exercises. But robotic solutions to the health crisis aren't limited to healthcare. Hansen thinks his robots could assist customers in struggling industries such as retail and airlines too, working closely with people but without transmitting the virus. A social robotics professor whose research has included work with Sophia said while technology is still in relative infancy, the pandemic could accelerate a relationship between humans and robots.
We're just now mass producing Sophia. This is Sophia number 24, and many of my previous robots were hand built. However, now we have begun scaling the manufacturing of Sophia so we can make hundreds and into thousands of units of Sophia and use this also as the foundation for many other kinds of characters.
The pandemic will actually help us get robots earlier in the market because people start to realize that there is no other way, in a sense. If there are no other humans around, then perhaps the robot is the best next alternative.
Hansen Robotics is launching a new robot this year called Grace, developed specifically for healthcare. Other big players in the industry are also taking note. SoftBank Robotics' Pepe robot was deployed to detect people who weren't wearing masks. In China, robotics company CloudMinds helped set up a robot-run field hospital during the outbreak in Wuhan. Hansen himself is very positive about the robot market for 2021.
My forecast for 2021 would be selling into thousands of robots, both large and small, and helping people in education and healthcare, and really hopefully touching the hearts of people to inspire them for a future where machines might become our friends, our true friends. They might become alive, and I think that that relationship becomes really important. 2021, I think, is the beginning of a very positive future.
The rise of the robots was already on course before the pandemic. According to a report by International Federation of Robotics, worldwide sales of professional service robots had already jumped 32% to $11.2 billion between 2018 and 2019.
I want to make a difference in the world by teaching people about new technologies. I am hoping that through my work, kindness and tolerance will win out over ignorance and impatience.
Right after this is my chat with the founder of Innovative Ventures, Thomas Nestas. Stay with us.
The nature of work is changing with the rise of automation, digital platforms, and other innovations. While there are positive impacts to these, there are also challenges. We are yet to reach the full potential of digitization across the global economy, and this makes it imperative that the younger generation are taught how to use available tools and technologies so they can be equipped with the right skills of the future. On the show today, we chat with Thomas Nestas, founder Innovative Ventures, and he discusses the importance of innovation today.
Glad to have you on Tech Trends today.
Thank you. Appreciate your interest and hope it's as engaging for you as it is for me.
All right, awesome. So let me start by asking you, if you think about innovation today, what comes to your mind?
You know, innovation used to be thought of as just doing research. Now the idea of innovation is getting something into the hands of customers. All right. And how can you get whatever this is into the hands of customers? And if this is what the customer wants, make sure that this is what he or she wants. But don't give them this if what they actually want is this. So innovation is constant interaction with the marketplace, with potential customers, supply chain partners, to make sure that you're bringing something along the innovation chain to what people really want and what they really need, and as a solution to their problems. And sometimes customers don't have a good way to articulate what their problems are. So as innovators, we need to be able to probe and understand what their specific problems are, even if they haven't recognized it themselves.
Yes, but there's oftentimes, sometimes innovators sort of build stuff in their minds or in their heads. How should we ensure that innovators build what customers really want?
Well, there's a couple things we could do. One is we can observe their behaviors, all right, in their daily activities, or ask them to explain what their particular activity is for this particular area that we're probing on them, to try to understand what issues or what solutions they might be looking for, even if they don't know. So for example, you know, before Apple came out with this iPhone, nobody was doing swipe right or swipe left, okay? You were always pressing buttons, all right? And if you observe people pressing buttons, you know, someone within the Apple team said, hey, look, maybe there's a way to do this. But you couldn't ask people, what are the problems? You could ask them, what are the problems with pressing buttons? But nobody said, well, I'm looking for a solution to swipe right or swipe left. So you have to use a little bit of creativity, saying, look, they're pressing these buttons, but there's maybe we can think of alternative ways to be able to interact with this particular device that might be either simpler, more easy to use, and maybe a little bit more engaging, where you engage with it more. So when you look at customers' problems, you can certainly ask them about what their problems are, but you want to be able to try to get information on how they're behaving on a daily basis, and try to structure your questions and trying to get metrics. So if they say, I have this problem about this, saying, well, how many times a day do you experience that? You know, is it 1 time a day? Is it 2 times a day? You know, how much money are you specifically paying for this? Not that, oh, you're paying big money for this, but how much money specifically are you paying for this? So you can start to target into what are their particular needs, their particular pain points, and how much money are they willing to spend, or are they spending now to solve those particular pain points?
Okay, let's dive deep into university, the university environment, and how we can drive more innovation from the universities. What's your take on that, first of all?
Yeah, let me give an example. We managed a program in Kazakhstan. It wasn't a fund, but it was a program. It was called the Technology Commercialization Project. And we had $75 million. $62 million actually came from the government of Kazakhstan, leveraged with a $13 million loan from the World Bank. It was a 5-year program. It ran from 2010 through 2015, okay? And the purpose of it was to advance technologies from predominantly, although not exclusively, universities in several different technology verticals. So there's life sciences, there's agriculture, ICT, energy, and materials, those 5 particular verticals, all right? And we were doing these as grants because legislation didn't allow us to do equity investments, okay? But I structured it as like it was a venture capital program, all right? So we did an outreach program to universities throughout Kazakhstan. We built a website saying, look, here's the purpose of the project, and here's how you apply, here's the kinds of things we're going to fund. And we funded projects up to $1.5 million as grants, tranched over 3 years. And that's big money, right? That's very big money, right? And so we got applications. We did what's called a request for proposal from these universities. We looked at, what they were particular doing. And then we went through, we asked them a series of questions. We evaluated their proposals. And then we did face-to-face interviews and meetings in Kazakhstan. And then we did tranches. We did call for proposals over 3 years, all right? And we had each team, give a verbal presentation and make sure that what they were doing. And then we had these universities then structure what we would, the equivalent of a joint stock company in Kazakhstan, okay? So then we could put money in and we could trace the money and we could watch how the money was being spent. But we set up KPIs. It was a very cool project. So a couple of the projects we did, I think, were very interesting. And they weren't necessarily what we call sort of game-changing technologies that's going to change the world, right? Many of them were very useful for what's called import substitution. So I always encourage people in countries say, look, sure, it's great, and it makes great media coverage and you become famous if you introduce something that changes the world. But there's a lot of needs just locally or regionally where you can do some good and you can make a lot of money and have fun.
Thomas, finally, what would you say around those who say that the fusion of the academia, innovators and government would create a massive ecosystem like people always mention Silicon Valley? Do you see that as the same kind of possibility in, say, Africa and other emerging countries?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to take a little bit different path because in the emerging countries, government tends to have a bigger role in the economy than it does, for example, either in the States or the UK or Europe. So there needs to be much more collaborative work amongst the various ministries and universities and academics, all right? Certainly there's going to be a change of attitude and change of mentality on the part of predominantly government people, because a lot of times, and again, I encountered this in Russia and Kazakhstan and Croatia and other countries where a lot of times academics, they look to government as a solution to their particular issues. Government is a partial solution, but actually, they have much more control to be able to do things than what they think or what they can imagine to do. And they're going to have to do some pushing, all right? Because sometimes that's the only way is to push bureaucrats to be more open and to take a sort of much more proactive approach to bringing innovation to market and to supporting innovation in different ways and forms. And that just needs to be done. And that's going to be a cultural behavior that's going to change again over time. It's not going to change overnight. It's not going to be as quick as in the United States or in Europe, because people just have got to become accustomed to doing things a little bit different or thinking a little bit differently. But it's quite exciting.
Exciting, Thomas. I mean, when the pandemic is over, I look forward to taking you across University of Lagos and other great universities in Nigeria.
Thank you. And as we implement this project, I mean, maybe I could come back to you from time to time and we could give you updates in terms of what we've learned. I think it'd be very interesting for your audience.
Amazing. Thank you, Thomas. Stay safe. Wish you all the best and compliments.
Thank you. All right. Cheers. All right. Bye.
My guest has been Thomas Neistas, founder, Innovative Ventures, who believes that the academia certainly does play an important role and all hands must be on deck to find ways to possibly commercialize tons of research work gathering dust in various universities across African cities. It's a wrap on this edition of the show, but the conversation continues online. Join us on social media. Remember, you can watch the entire show on Channels TV, YouTube, or cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.